Welcome back for another bow fishing trip. It's been about a month since I got to shoot on my own boat, so definitely wanted to come out here and have some fun. So you got me, you got Cody, Garrett, and my dad, so you got the whole crew out here shooting. And last time we were shooting the spawn, and this time everything's heated up. We've got bugs, as you can see in the video, and we've got weeds. And you'll definitely see that throughout the video. But these are post-spawn fish, and a lot of them are basically in their summer patterns, looking for oxygen, feeder creeks, stuff like that, rivers. And, this is a spot that holds a lot of fish. It's hard to see them, obviously, with the weeds, but it holds a lot of fish, and I just wanted to go down and check it out. I'm a firm believer, obviously, in scouting. I love my scouting. But I figured if we could go out here and figure out where the fish is, that is the habitat that the fish want to be in. So when it comes to spawn time, the fish are definitely going to stack in those areas depending on the water level. So we wanted to come out here, shoot, have a little bit of fun, and hopefully get on some fish. However, the one thing that does suck with post-spawn fish is that a lot of your fish are actually not here. When they're up, they're spawning, they'll stack into certain areas, where here the fish are more spread out. They could be in deep water. If they don't want to come in and feed nearly as much that day, or if they fed during the day, you're not going to, usually you tend to not see your really big numbers. So to be able to see as many fish as we did this night, it was actually pretty cool, because it just means that there's just a pile of fish in this area. And what's really cool about this area, which you'll see later on, is this is one of the very few places by me that actually has buffs. I could drive 2-3 hours to run into areas with buffs, but this is one of the few areas next to me that actually holds buffs, and holds a good number of buffs also. So a lot of the times throughout the night, these guys don't have much experience with chasing buffs. So most of the night we kicked the trolling motor up and we started cruising heavy. Just wanted to get up on top of fish and be able to shoot fish as much as we can. But while getting to the spot to be able to run towards buffs, we obviously ran into a pot of gar here, so we had a lot of fun coming up and shooting gar. Didn't really get into a good gar shoot this year. Usually we get into them and you'll get into the gar spawn, but we never really found the gar. It was a really odd year, so being able to shoot these gar is pretty rare for us this year. Definitely probably the most gar we shot this year in a single night, and it's definitely pretty cool to shoot them this small, because they don't weigh nothing, and you can throw a lot of fish in a barrel at that point. That's something I've been really missing lately. I like scouting, and I'm always going to be a firm believer in scouting, but it is a lot of fun when you can throw a couple hundred fish inside of a 110 and be able to not have to worry about weight or nothing. So it was pretty cool to be able to shoot all the little dink gar and things like that. Now that we're coming up into the weed patches here, I'm actually a little nervous about the weed patches. If you guys knew me from previous years of me trying to get the troll motor going and everything else like that, I'm pretty prone to blowing boards. So I didn't want to get the troll motor all binded up with stuff like that, or end up hitting into a stick or anything with all the weeds. So I was pretty nervous about it, but in order to chase buffs with a troll motor, you really need to be cruising through. Just wanted to get on the water, get cruising, and hopefully be able to catch up to one, or at least catch one coming off the shoreline or stuff like that. And what's funny about it is a lot of the fish that we're shooting here are commons, and they'll just be laying there. But like, you get into this fish I just shot right now, this is actually a little buff, just a little couple pound buff. But you'll get into it where the fish that are taking off at, speed of light, and you'll see a bunch of clouds and things like that. Them fish buffs are really awesome to shoot. They don't want to be there, and they add a challenge into everything, because when they do come through, and they're coming through as fast as they can, to be able to have that much of a reaction time to be able to shoot them, it just adds a cool factor into them, I guess. like I said, we don't get to see a bunch of them, and this is one of the very few places that we actually have them next to me. So the times I do get to shoot them, it's a fun time for me. What's cool about this also is that if we ever get a lot of wind or anything else like that, this spot's still going to be safe to be able to shoot. So if we ever have a time where we don't want to hit the big water because the waves might be too big or we can't really get out of the waves, this will also be a very good spot. But this gets affected by the rainwater pretty heavy. So it's kind of give or take, but it's definitely a cool area. Which I guess, too, with the high water just means the fish push more up into the trees and stuff like that and up into the actual weed beds and more of the grass cattail areas. So, I don't know, it's a give or take. Now that we're about halfway through, let's get a couple words in from the sponsors. Beebe Outdoors is brought to you in part by Loxley Bowfishing, home of the Graves Bowfishing Gloves. The quick-drying, breathable material has a reinforced pinky to protect your hands when pulling arrows. This makes it a must-have for any bow fisherman. Get yours today at LoxleyBowfishing.com. Use promo code BB15 for 15% off at checkout. Predator Custom Bowstrings. Over 30 years of experience building bowstrings for compound, recurve, and crossbows. We use premium BCY products to build your next set of premium strings and cables. Find them on Facebook and Instagram. And don't forget to use promo code BB15 to get 15% off of your next set of strings. Arrow Out. Whether you're bowfishing deeper water or cattails, the arrow out is an essential part of every bowfishing boat. When an arrow is stuck or your line snaps, Arrow Out is here to help you get your arrow back. For more information, check out meritproducts.com. We will be doing a giveaway of an Arrow Out XT at 1,000 subscribers. One thing we did do on the boat is we actually, I guess, downgraded a couple of the lights. As you can see up by where I'm at, we still got the 200s sitting up front. So now we're running two 200s and we're running 8 100s. We ran into a little bit of an issue with the 200s on the sides because of the fact of how big them lights are and how tall they are. They will actually kind of hinder shooting fish close to the boat, so I wanted to try and see what smaller lights would do, which they actually worked out incredibly well. So what I'm probably going to end up doing is I bought 4 lights, and we just hooked up 2. We had a little bit of shipping issues at the time, so we hooked up 2 instead of the 4. I just got the other 2, so we might slide a couple of those lights down to put the other lights up. Right now, you can kind of see it in the video, but in between the front lights and the next one's over, there's a slight dark spot there, a little bit of a blind spot, not much. I mean, it's really hard to see in the video, but you can kind of see it when you're on the water, and that little bit of dark spot's going to bug me enough to change it. So I will be adding 2 more lights onto the boat, and just putting them up front at that point. And it might be something, too, to where maybe we swap out the 200s up front and ended up putting in more of the 100s. I'm really impressed with those 100s. They're pretty bright. They're short. They're skinny. I mean, I'm really impressed with them. They work really well. So as long as they hold up and they last, which they seem to be doing it, especially with the custom-made brackets, they end up working out pretty well. So the fish I just shot, like I said, we were peeling through everything, peeling through the weeds right here, and that is my big buff of the night. Pretty crazy to watch it. As soon as you shoot it and it takes off, I mean, that thing takes off a lot more than what a common carp does. So seeing them things take off is just crazy. And I'm still shooting the longer barbs on this arrow. Trying to test out long barb, short barb, see the holding power, things like that. And I mean, them long barbs, even with that fish right there, which I mean, he's only, 15, 18 pounds maybe. But with them longer barbs, they actually held up incredibly well, and it's got really good holding power. So we'll see how they shoot, and I don't know, maybe we'll end up looking into more of those in the future. In a couple clips here, you're going to see that we run into, it basically kind of looks like grass, but it's not grass. It's a type of water plant. I don't know off the top of my head. But this type of grass that we end up going past on this flat, there was a couple different flats like that, and the fish were absolutely loaded in them. It's one of the things where it's about knee-deep water, maybe waist-deep at the very worst. And the fish were just in there, and they were basically feeding, but there was a lot of fish. We would drive past it, and you could see 4 or 5 different, where kind of like a school came into an area, and then you go up another 20, 30 feet, and another school would be there. So not a type of weed, not a type of grass kind of thing where I have much experience with. So it might be something where we got to go back into this area and check this spot out, because if they're in this thick now, I could only imagine how thick they're going to be in later on or earlier on too. Fall shooting's just as fun, but during the spawn, I mean, this place could absolutely stack up. So I don't know, more stuff to learn, more scouting to do. So we're getting to the end of the video here. I hope everybody enjoyed. Hope everybody keeps liking and subscribing, because we got a lot more bow fishing coming up.